What is the most efficient, effective way to control the world? 2 words. Mind control.
Now you probably noticed I don't feel about that war the way we were told we were supposed to feel about that war, the way we were ordered and instructed by the United States government to feel about that war. You see, I tell you, my mind doesn't work that way. I got this real moron thing I do. It's called thinking. And I'm not a very good American because I like to form my own opinions. I don't just roll over when I'm told to. Sad to say, most Americans just roll over.
What is Quran called mind control? One of the words is yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas min al-jinnati wan nas. Whispers into the hearts of mankind ideas to control your mind. What does Shaitan want? Shaitan wants to control your mind. That's why it is a mind battle with Shaitan. Like you're praying and you want to focus. It is about you having control of your own mind when you're doing salah, right? If you don't control your own mind within salah, then you don't control your mind, even though you may have some knowledge about the world trade, or the new world order and whatever is happening in the world, but you're really not free yet. Focus in your dhikr, in your adhkar, in your Quran, in your salah, so that you can really be free. These people, like the one that's talking and others, they know what the problem is, but they really don't know what the problem is because they don't have the guidance that the Muslims have. Anyway.
On command, not me. I have certain rules I live by. My first rule, I don't believe anything the government tells me.
See, so they understand there's a problem, but their solution, for example, I don't agree with anything, I don't believe anything government tells me. So you know the problem, but to know the solution you have to, and to be able to apply the solution and live the solution. And this is just living it within that dialect, right? Of, okay, the government has something and most people buy into that and then some people won't. How will we control them? Those people that understand them. So this is also being controlled in many ways. One of the saddest things about history is how much it repeats itself. The following words were stated in 1991 and can swear that Mr. Collin was speaking about current events.
I don't take very seriously the media or the press in this country, who in the case of the Persian Gulf War were nothing more than unpaid employees of the Department of Defense, and who most of the time function as kind of an unofficial public relations agency for the United States government. So I don't listen to them. I don't really believe in my country, and I gotta tell you folks, I don't get all choked up about yellow ribbons and American flags. Now, to balance the scale, I'd like to talk about some things that bring us together. Things that point out our similarities instead of our differences. Because that's all you ever hear about in this country is our differences. That's all the media and the politicians are ever talking about, the things that separate us, things that make us different from one another. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They try to divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the fucking money. Fairly simple thing happens to work. You know, anything different, that's what they're going to talk about. Race, religion, ethnic and national background, jobs, income, education, social status, sexuality, anything you can do, keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep going to the bank. You know how I describe the economic and social classes in this country? The upper class keeps all of the money, pays none of the taxes. The middle class pays all of the taxes, does all of the work. The poor are there just to scare the shit out of the middle class. People showing up at those jobs. Politicians know that word, they use it on you. Politicians have traditionally hidden behind 3 things: the flag, the Bible, and children. No child left behind. No child left behind. Oh, really? Well, it wasn't long ago you were talking about giving kids a head start. Head start, left behind? Someone's losing fucking ground here. But there's a reason. There's a reason. There's a reason for this. There's a reason education sucks. It's the same reason that will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The big, the wealthy, the real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. They're irrelevant. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media, all the big media companies. So they control just about all of the news and information you get here. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. You know something? They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines, to do the paperwork, and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
The greatest form of control is where you think you're free when you're being
fundamentally manipulated and dictated to. One form of dictatorship is being in a prison cell and you can see the bars and touch it. The other one is sitting in a prison cell but you can't see the bar, you think free. What the human race is suffering from is mass hypnosis. We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country
deaf, dumb, and blind. Ever heard those words? Summun bukmun umyun, deaf, dumb, blind. That's what they are masters of making you deaf, dumb, blind. Right? And whose work is this behind the scenes? This is the work of Shaitan.
And in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people, the chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous. The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real.
Historically, the control and manipulation of political opinion has been the Freemasons' main weapon in gaining control of countries and states. Once in control of the rulers and politicians of a country, laws and political structures could be changed in accordance with their agenda. However, since restricting the body does not necessarily mean restricting the mind, the Freemason recognizes that their plan for a global government hinges completely on subduing the masses to their agenda, and thus eliminating opposition to their cause. And the greatest threat to their plan, posing more danger than any army or law, is the threat of a free-thinking mind. In order to eliminate this threat and to achieve their objective,
who came to free people's mind other than Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And what other than the Quran helps people free their mind to find themselves, find your soul, save your soul, free yourself? Can only happen when you attach yourself to Allah, and when you break in front of Allah, when you cry in front of Allah, and that is when you begin to find yourself.
The Masons set about the boldest plan ever devised, the complete control of every aspect of human life, your life. And the way
weapons they are using against you are in your very homes, entertaining you and your children, and gradually indoctrinating you without you even realizing.
So, okay. So, like I said, I would be doing a small tafsir of the Arrival series and adding my own comments over time, inshallah. And then like that, I will do that, inshallah, with other series that I think are worth doing that with. Now, let us end today with, so we said, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. So let us end today with Bismillah. Now, for Bismillah, there is a very interesting dhikr that Imam Nawawi came up with, which I would like to share with you, known as the dhikr of Imam Nawawi. So in this we are starting with Bismillah, and we will always be again doing A'udhu Billah, but Bismillah ala nafsi. Bismillah over myself, over my nafs. Bismillah, Allah's name over my nafs. So let us listen to this, inshallah.
الإمام النووي بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أقول على نفسي وعلى ديني وعلى أهلي وعلى أولادي وعلى مالي وعلى أصحابي.
So this is أقول على نفسي. I say over myself. وعلى ديني, and over my deen, وعلى أهلي, and my family, وعلى أولادي, and my children, وعلى مالي, and my wealth and my property, وعلى أصحابي, and all the people close to me, وعلى أديانهم, over their deen, وعلى أموالهم, and over their wealth and property. Right? So I say Bismillah over myself, my children, my family, my friends. So this is like a dua for yourself and your family and your friends, and saying Bismillah over yourself. Like, okay, Alf Bismillah, 1,000 times Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, 1,000 times, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, أقول على نفسي وعلى ديني وعلى أهلي وعلى أولادي وعلى مالي وعلى أصحابي وعلى أديانهم وعلى أموالهم, ألف Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. So you can follow along, inshallah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أقول على نفسي وعلى ديني وعلى أهلي وعلى أولادي وعلى مالي وعلى أصحابي وعلى أدياني وعلى أموالي ألف بسم الله الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أقول على نفسي وعلى ديني وعلى أهلي وعلى أولادي وعلى مالي وعلى أصحابي وعلى أدياني وعلى أموالي ألف ألف بسم الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أقول على نفسي وعلى ديني وعلى أهلي وعلى أولادي وعلى مالي وعلى أصحابي وعلى أدياني وعلى أموالي ألف ألف لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. بسم الله.
So this time he says alf alf, 1,000 times, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-ali al-azim. Anhu ala nafsi, myself, okay, wa ala dini, and on my deen, wa ala ahli, and my family, wa ala awladi, and my children, wa ala mali, and my wealth, wa ala ashabi, and my friends and families and near ones, wa ala adyanihim, and over their deen, wa ala amwalihim, and their wealth. Alf alf la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-ali al-azim.
وبالله ومن الله وإلى الله وعلى الله وفي الله ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. بسم الله على ديني وعلى نفسي وعلى أولادي. بسم الله على مالي وعلى أهلي. بسم الله على كل شيء أعطاني ربي.
بسم الله على كل شيء أعطاني ربي. Bismillah over everything my Allah has given me.
بسم الله رب السماوات السبع ورب الأرضين السبع ورب العرش العظيم.
Bismillah of the Rabb, of the Lord of the seven heavens and earth, and Rabb of the Lord of the great throne.
بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم.
Now, this is Bismillah, and I'll explain this inshallah next time. We'll end here. Bismillah alladhi la yadurru. In the name of Allah, on which there is no dur, there's no harm, ma'a ismihi, with his names, shay'un fil ardi wala fis sama, on the earth or in the heavens. Wa huwa as-sami'ul alim, and he listens and he is all-knowing. So inshallah, may Allah listen to our dua. I will repeat this whole thing one time without interrupting.
حزب الإمام النووي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أقول على نفسي وعلى ديني وعلى أهلي وعلى أولادي وعلى مالي وعلى أصحابي وعلى أدياني وعلى أموالي ألف بسم الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أقول على نفسي وعلى ديني وعلى أهلي وعلى أولادي وعلى مالي وعلى أصحابي وعلى أدياني وعلى أموالي ألف ألف بسم الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أقول على نفسي وعلى ديني وعلى أهلي وعلى أولادي وعلى مالي وعلى أصحابي وعلى أدياني وعلى أموالي ألف ألف لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. بسم الله وبالله ومن الله وإلى الله وعلى الله وفي الله ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. بسم الله على ديني وعلى نفسي وعلى أولادي. بسم الله على مالي وعلى أهلي. بسم الله على كل شيء أعطاني ربي. بسم الله رب السبع ورب العرش العظيم بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم.
Make sure to subscribe today and make sure you like and make sure you leave your comments and ideas. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله